On the morning of July 12, 1943, the fields near the village of Prokhorovka in the Soviet Union witnessed the largest tank battle in military history. In less than 24 hours, over 1,000 armored vehicles faced off in a narrow and suffocating terrain. There, the elite of the Wehrmacht collided head-on with the bulk of the Soviet armored forces. The result was a storm of steel, fire, and blood. Join us in this epic battle and see how one of the largest war zones in military history began. After the catastrophic failure at Stalingrad, the Wehrmacht tried to restore its initiative. The German choice was to attack the Kursk salient, a protrusion of Soviet territory deeply advanced into the German lines. The operation was named Citadel. Hitler saw it as a chance to turn the tide on the Eastern Front, but the plan came too late. While the Germans were preparing their attack, the Soviets were already digging. With massive support from the national war industry, the Red Army built over 8,000 kilometers of trenches, laid around 500,000 landmines, and organized defensive lines in up to 7 layers. Over 1.3 million Soviet soldiers, 3,600 tanks, and 20,000 artillery pieces were mobilized. On the other side, Germany gathered about 900,000 men, 2,700 tanks, many of them the feared Panther and Tigers, as well as 10,000 cannons. The Soviets knew in advance the day and location of the attack. Soviet intelligence, supported by interceptions and spies, allowed Stalin and his generals to prepare a defense that, more than blocking the Nazi advance, aimed to destroy their best resources. When the Germans attacked on July 5, 1943, they encountered a wall of fire. The German offensive in the northern sector, led by the 9th Army of Walter Model, quickly stalled. Model faced heavy fortifications and intense resistance. In the south, the Germans initially had more success. The 4th Panzer Division of Hott, with support from the 2nd Panzer SS Corps, advanced toward Prokhorovka, where one of the most violent confrontations of the war would take place. The Prokhorovka field, on July 12, became the stage for one of the largest armored battles in history. Over 1,200 tanks faced off in a chaotic battle at close range with artillery, aerial fire, and frontal attacks. The German divisions Totenkopf, Heisch, and Leibstance faced the 5th Soviet Guard Tank Division under the command of Hottenstrauch. The rugged terrain, combined with smoke and dust, neutralized the Germans' advantage in aim and range. The Soviets advanced in waves, seeking close-range confrontations where the T-34s could compensate for their limitations against the Tigers and Panthers. The Soviets' mass production played a decisive role at this moment. While Germany fielded heavy, complex, and difficult-to-replace tanks like the Panther, many of which still had mechanical problems, the Soviets produced thousands of T-34s per month. The USSR's replenishment capacity, fueled by factories operating day and night away from the Luftwaffe's reach, ensured that every destroyed T-34 was quickly replaced. In the skies, the Soviet Air Force, the VVS, faced the Luftwaffe with new fighter models like the Yak-9 and La-5FN, while the Germans relied on the FC-Fulf FW-190 and the Bf-109. But time was working against the Nazis. With each day of combat, the Wehrmacht lost resources it could not replace. Meanwhile, the SS increased its pressure with constant reinforcements. The battle dragged on till August. The Citadel operation was officially ended by Hitler on July 13, after Mussolini's fall and the need to redeploy troops to Italy. But on the Eastern Front, fighting continued. The Soviets went on the offensive, retaking Belgorod and Kharkov in August. The Wehrmacht would never again be able to launch a strategic offensive in the east. At the end of the battle, Germany lost about 500,000 men, including dead, wounded, and missing. Nearly 400 heavy and medium tanks were destroyed, including precious Tigers and Panthers. The Soviets also suffered colossal losses. More than 800,000 soldiers and 6,000 tanks, but the replenishment balance already heavily favored Moscow. Kursk marked Hitler's last real attempt to change the course of the war in the East. From then on, Germany entered a spiral of continuous retreat. The battle showed that the war of attrition favored the Soviet Union and that German technical superiority could not compete with Soviet mass production. From Kursk onward, the Soviets took the command of the war on the Eastern Front. With constant advancement, they liberated city after city, pushing the Germans back to Berlin. The largest tank battle in history was also the symbol of the definitive turning point, the moment when the Third Reich realized that its defeat was only a matter of time.